Hey guys, it's Michelle on the Shelves here. I wanted to do before January ends, and it seems at that point kind of late, to do my top books that I read back in 2016. I'm not really going to do a worst or least favorite books because, to be honest, if it gets a 1, I don't even generally ever finish it. And then 2s are pretty rare for me as well. Generally, if I can't even get through a book, I'm not going to finish it, and I'm not going to count it if I don't finish it. So there's not really a lot to talk about on that. These are my books. There's not really a number that I designated. They're not in any certain order either, really, except to say probably my favorite book that I read last year was Everything, Everything by Nicola Yoon. If you have not read that book, please read it. I'm not a huge contemporary YA person, but it's just so good, and it's so original, and I love reading and promoting authors of color, especially ones that create, characters of color, and this was just really good. I'm excited to soon read, in the coming year, her other book, I'll Give You the Sun. So that one is on my list for 2017. The next book is Prisoner of Night and Fog, and that book was pretty good too. It posits the idea that Hitler had this sort of adopted niece. He basically comes to find out that this Nazi movement and Hitler was not what she thought it was, and helped along is her meeting this young Jewish reporter. And this takes place, of course, in Germany, and it's just a really good book. And there's at least one more. I don't know if it's how big the series is, but I highly recommend that, especially if you like World War II, Holocaust sort of fiction. It's a really good story from someone who started off actively supporting the Nazi Party and then kind of turns. And of course it's fiction, but the author did a lot of research, and the only thing they did was took and inserted fictional characters into actual events and only minimally had to play with the story. So I thought it was really good from a historical fiction standpoint, as well as just a book plot standpoint. The next one is Revolver by Marcus Sedgwick. I don't think it's one of his newest ones. And there's been a few of his books that I haven't really liked. She Is Not Invisible is one that I read. I think I only gave it a 3 because it was kind of, it was okay. It wasn't what he does best, which is that kind of vaguely creepy sort of realism, but it's not quite what we know. If you've read Marcus Sedgwick, you know what I'm talking about. He wrote My Sword Hand is Singing. He wrote Ghosts of Heaven. I'm trying to remember. A lot of these I had, and I had to get rid of them when I moved. That's why I don't have pretty much any of these books here, because I either got them from the library and turned them in back in Oklahoma, or I had to get rid of them when I moved. So I do apologize for that. Hopefully I will have gotten them here. So Revolver is really good. It takes place in the far north, and this boy and his stepmother and his sister, they kind of live out in this isolated village, and the father gets killed, and then this strange, scary, intimidating guy comes and swears that the dad owes him money because the dad, he was I don't know how to say it, an assayer. They weighed gold and gave you the money for it, and the guy had felt like the dad cheated him, and so he was coming to collect his money, but it was not a good time because the dad had just died, and they had got him back into the cabin and were trying to figure out what to do. His sister and stepmother had been off, and I think they were doing something in the village or doing chores, so it was just him and this guy, and it's this whole thing of this guy kind of basically holding them hostage. It's called Revolver because the dad had got a gun and showed them how to use it and then hid it away. And so it's this whole thing of the boy dealing with that, and I don't want to give too much away, but the revolver is a pretty central figure in the book, as much as an inanimate object can be. So that one was really good. It was good Marcus Sedgwick. The next one, I did a book discussion of it. I'll link it down below, of The Sculptor. It's a really good graphic novel. It's pretty thick and long, but it was really good. Like, if you want a good book hangover, if you want to feel, if you want to think, I highly recommend The Sculptor. Basically, it's an artist, and it's Scott McCloud. He's like a big deal in the comics and graphic novel world. Basically, this artist who can't really get his career to take off, he's at his wit's end, and he gets this visit from what he thinks is his grandfather, and or is it a great uncle or something. And he gets this opportunity. He can have the ability to create amazing art out of anything he touches. Like, he can mold it with his hands. But the trade-off is that he only has 100 days to live. And so he decides he doesn't have anything else to lose. He's just going to take the 100 days and go out with a bang. And then I can give you a big guess as to what happens. He falls in love. So this is like, it's so heartbreaking and good, and I really recommend it. And the artwork is good, and it's almost in this like blue scale, if that makes sense. Like, I definitely recommend that. The next book on my list is A Darker Shade of Magic, and I'm sure you've probably heard of that one. If you haven't read this, I think it's a trilogy right now. I don't know if there's going to be any more. I did have to get rid of that one, but I actually own, I kept, because it's a nice hardcover, the second book, so that hopefully will be on my list this year as well. There's these 4 different Londons. There's black, white, red, and gray. And I can't remember which one is the one that nobody goes to. I want to say the white, and it's been a while since I read it. And there is a guy, he's part of a rare breed, and he can go between the worlds. And he basically relays messages with that, but he also does a little smuggling. And so he runs into, in the course of his adventures, runs into a young lady who wants to be a pirate. And so they kind of team up. And I think one of the most, besides the originality and the great writing, one of the aspects about this book and this series is that, at least with the first book, I'm not sure, I can't tell if it's going to go that direction. It doesn't end with, like, they have to be in a relationship and there's this, like, love triangle and the kind of stuff that, you know, you kind of tend to roll your eyes at after a while. So that was really refreshing, and if you kind of want something that's not necessarily focused on, well, hetero romance anyway, I can definitely recommend A Darker Shade of Magic. The next to last one is Dog Songs, and it's just a book of poetry about dogs. And if you're a dog person or a dog owner, I can definitely recommend it. The poems gave me a lot of feels, and it was just a nice, good, sweet, quick read if you like poetry or dogs or both. I can definitely recommend that. It's by Mary Oliver, and she has quite a bit of poetry, and it's pretty good. I like it, especially if you like and then the last thing I'm doing last, because I actually kept the ones I have, because I was like, no, I'm not letting go of these, is the Saga series. Excellent. It's definitely adult, so I recommend if you're under 16, 17, there's a decent amount of violence, but a lot of it, there's bare breasts, and there's, I mean, obviously, leave that. Some, like, sexual content. But if you can deal with that, or you're old enough, I definitely recommend this series. It's just got so many elements that I love. It's like this cross between science fiction and fantasy. It's got the kind of interracial, in this case it's literally two different races, like actual races, like humanoid races. And they're from like, it's almost kind of the Romeo and Juliet, with like they're from two warring planets, and like his people are kind of magic based and they're the ones that are rebelling, and hers, they're the more military, and she in fact had been in the military, and he was a prisoner of war, and they fell in love and ran away together and had a baby, and they want the baby not only because they're what do you call it, like war criminals, is that? Yeah. But also because, you know, these two races are not supposed to breed together, and so, you know, they want the kid. And artwork is really spectacular. Well, I was trying to find one here, but like, you know, like that. The artwork is just really good. Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples, I think, are doing an excellent job with this series, and there's just a lot of literal and like ethnic color, and you know, they're not even human, so it's just a refreshing non-issue in that sense. But of course you've still got the kind of conflict between the two different species, races, whatever you want to call it. It's just really diverse and interesting and multi-layered, and again, if you are mature enough to handle mature content, definitely pick this series up. Those are my top reads that I read last year. You can see all my reads on Goodreads, and I'll link it down below, of course. Feel free to add me. I'm very active on it. If you want to see everything I read, these are just the ones that really stuck out to me. So comment below and let me know, have you read any of these? Do you recommend anything based on what I show? Please like this video and comment. Please comment. I see people viewing and I really want to know what you think, and I want to interact with you. And if you comment, I can go check out your channel and subscribe. So don't forget to comment. And also, if you have not subscribed, don't forget to do that below. And I will see you guys later. Bye.